What's up, y'all? This is Dick High Five back for episode 4 of the ABCs of the ASR. Finally, something fun. We're sampling right into the machine. We need a signal to start out with, a source signal. So we're gonna be sampling from a record, going into our mixer, which is going right into the ASR. Generally, the connector on the back of the ASR, the audio input, it takes a 1/4 inch tip sleeve, which looks like this. Unbalanced connector, and then usually at the back of the mixer you got an RCA, so the other end of the cable looks like something. That's not always the case, but you got to go into the ASR with this, so something like that is probably what you want. We sample through what we call the audio tracks here. That's just like your inputs in here. This is how you monitor them, and this is how you adjust them. So you'll see the yellow light there means that it is up for edit. So the volume's at 60. We're going to turn it up to 99. We're going to press this one. That's the right side. It's up for edit. We're going to turn that up to 99. Now, if we press that again, it turns red. That means it's hot. That means you got a signal coming in. If we double click that one, that means it's hot. It's got a signal coming in. You notice the yellow bounced from over there. So that just means that that's the one that you would be editing. If I slid this down right now, I would be doing track A, or left. They can't both be selected at the same time, but they both can be hot. So keep that in mind. I got my record on the turntable here. I'm going to go ahead and press start on there, and I got it hot. It's going through here. You'll notice little blips. That means you're getting a signal through there. That's good. Now, I'm going to stop that briefly. Now, since we're going to sample, we want to hit that sample, source select. It's going to say record source, input left, input dry left. Now, there's a few options here, which we'll get into these later. It says input plus effects. Actually, we won't get into that one. I never use that. I don't know why you would. Maybe I'm way off with that, but it's not a thing. Main out, very much a thing, but we're not going to get into that now. So we're going to go to input dry. And if you go over, it says left, it says right, it says left and right. We are going to concern ourselves with mono samples, not a stereo sample for right now. So that's what I like. So input dry left. I'm going to hit enter. It says pick the sample instrument. You can put it wherever you want. It doesn't matter. I'm putting it on 8. You will notice that there's a little asterisk there in this little line. That little double line is the signal coming in. If I were to play on my record, you would see that the level comes up. That little asterisk is the threshold of the record. So if I were to press enter right now, it would not start recording yet until the signal from that crossed the threshold. 9 out of 10 times when I'm sampling, I'm not using that threshold. I'm putting it all the way down so that right when I hit enter, it starts sampling. When I would use that, if I was like recording some drums in the other room that I was actually playing, and for whatever reason was sampling them right into the ASR, which I usually don't do, I would set the threshold high, walk out there, sit down, hit a drum, and then it would start because the threshold, it was tripped by the threshold. So anyway, you can also raise the threshold to where you really got to get something hot into it. We're going to put it all the way down, and I'm going to hit the record again, and I'm going to sample when I want to by pressing enter. Pull it back a little bit. Alright, now it is asking me to play the root key. That's just going to be the exact sound that I put in is going to live on whatever note I hit next. I'm putting it right there. That's where I'm putting it. Wow. Now, I like to put it in the middle because it gives me the most range. I can go down, I can go up, and it's also just a habit. Generally, samples aren't going to sound that good when they're way at this end or way at this end, but give yourself the range. You never know. So I like to just out of habit put it in the middle. You can move it wherever you want in your edit pitch table. You can make the pitch play out, however you design. So there's our sample. Now the first thing we're going to do is we want to get as hot of a signal in there as we can, and I was happy with the volume of that. But since we're in the digital domain, we want to get these things all as loud as they can go inside themselves, pre-clipping. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to Edit Amp and scroll over till it says Boost. And it says Boost Off. That's what we want. We're in the off position. Now the next thing we're going to do is hit Command Amp. First page that pops up, there's several on here, but the first one that we see, where'd it go? Normalize gain. That's exactly what we want to do. I'm going to hit Enter. It's going to say data being processed. What this is doing is clipping off the dead space above our sample, basically making it as loud as it can before it clips, kind of like what a compressor does, but it doesn't smush it down. It's just going to get the optimum gain out of our sample. So you'll notice when I press the key again, it's going to be a little louder. It actually wasn't that much louder, so we got a good sample in there. Now we're going to go back to Edit Amp, and we're going to turn the boost on. You know what? That sample, it's not like I remember hearing the record coming in. I think what it was is that the left side was more of an ambient sound and the right side was more direct. So what we're going to do is get rid of this. And we're going to backtrack a little bit because I actually missed something. We're going to hold down 8, where we have our instrument, and we're going to press Cancel. And it's going to say unnamed instrument deleted. We could have also done that in Command Instrument, and it says delete instrument. This was just a shortcut. So we're going to go back to sampling. Before we hit sample, I want to show you one thing. I hit the effects button. The reverb is on. Now we had selected input dry as our source, so it doesn't really, although it's being monitored through the reverb, it's not sampling that reverb into it. But I don't even want to hear that reverb, so we're going to go down, and it's going to say effects off, 31 voice 30K. That's the rate at which it's sampling, 30K. You can also go to 44K, which is a higher sampling rate. We're going to go back to the 30K because I don't really use the 44 that much. You don't even really hear the difference that much on the high end. Or actually, you do hear it on the high end. On the low end, it doesn't make that much of a difference. You can even convert your sample rate down, and your low end doesn't change that much. But I like to just use 30K. You get more memory when you use 44. You have less sampling time. When you use 30K, you have a little bit more. You got a little bit of buffer, so that's good. So let's go back to sampling. We're going to hit Sample, Input Dry, Left. Now the left side was more of that ambient side, so we're going to go to right because I think it'll be more direct. We'll get more beef out of that sample. So then we can hit Enter, and then it'll say pick an instrument track, or from this page we can just press 8, and there it is. So let's go back to this. I'll pull the record back some. Whoa. All right. All right. So again, press Root or Enter. You want it right there. We're going to go to Edit Amp. Make sure the amp is off. It is. Command Amp. Normalize gain. It'll get a little bit hotter. There you go. That's a little hotter. So now we're going to go to Edit Amp, and then we're going to turn it on. The boost on. Now that's way hotter. So we'll scroll over 2 pages, and we'll just slide that wave sample volume down. And that's it. You'll see it's playing at a different pitch as you go up and down. And that's it. We've sampled. So that's the gist of it. We're obviously going to come back to that and learn how to edit these samples a little bit more. But that's the basic idea of sampling into the ASR.